art and culture. Art and culture, we know that it's a very potential area in your prelims examination, in your mains GS1 also. Okay. On an average, 8 to 10 questions you can expect from art and culture. So art and culture, our strategy would be like this. We will be covering this art, architecture, and literature. You see, art, architecture, and literature. This is actually the broad syllabus of art and culture for mains. Okay, so here you see that when I say art, it will cover all these visual arts and performing arts. Visual arts and performing arts. Okay, similar way, architecture is also, you must understand that religious and secular architecture. Religious and secular architecture. Literature, again, I would say that this is religious and secular literature. All this covering from ancient times to modern times. Now the question is that, yes, we have to cover art, architecture, literature from ancient to modern times. Now why should we cover, what should we cover in art, architecture, literature? For which you will have to go through the previous year questions. Here, based on previous year's questions, I set a certain model questions for you. This will give you exactly a picture what to focus in each area. Why solving questions? In our this art and culture crash course, we will be covering around 500 questions. There will be a full test for art and culture, and along with that, we will be covering so many questions, so that minimum 10 questions are assured from art and culture. Okay, here you see that there is a question: what does Bagram ivories refer to? This ivory carving or this ivory art, this is as popular as this, ancient times. That is from Indus civilization. Indus art, there is ivory art is also mentioned. Kushana's times, 1st, 2nd centuries, there also this ivory carving or ivory art was popular. Now see, there is a question: what does Bagram ivories refer to? Buddhist manuscripts, decorative plaques and small figures, skilled textiles from China, bronze statues of Greek gods. It was recently in the news, this smuggling and this, what is called this stolen artifacts are returned to those, original countries. We have seen many things are returned to India from USA. Okay, many things are returned to this Afghanistan from other countries. So here, these are stolen arts, that is returned to Afghanistan. And this is decorative plaques and small figures. What is that? Yes, Bagram ivories. Bagram ivories, they are decorative plaques and small figures. Hundreds of figures on this, ivory plate. You see, that is something is called this Bagram ivories. So why I show this? This is exactly the similar way UPSC asks questions in our prelims paper from art and culture. Okay, sometimes the reference, it is because of that thing happened in the news. It was a current affair issue, so it was asked in the paper. Okay, so many times, the paintings, art forms, sculptures, temple styles, so many things asked in the exams because they were in the news. They were debated or discussed in the news. Okay, that's why when these art and culture elements are in the news, you shouldn't skip. You shouldn't skip. Now move on to the next question. I will show you. First we will discuss some questions, then we will get into the culture, content part. In which of the following locations can the paintings of Vajrapani, Manjus, Padmabani be found? You see that this preservation of this India's ancient monuments, culture, or maybe it's, these traditions, government, both the central government, state governments, and archaeological survey department, they are taking so many initiatives for the preservation of these old monuments or these art forms, etc. Okay, through multiple schemes and all. Are you, familiar with the certain schemes for the preservation of these ancient Indian monument heritage sites, etc.? Do you know some schemes? Okay, UPSC can ask questions from that side also. So here you see that these are some popular paintings, that is Vajrapani, Manjusri, Padmapani. These are found in which of the following cave paintings, which is Elephanta caves, Ellora caves, Ajanta caves, Badami caves. In something different way, already UPSC asked a question. They already asked a question. So we can expect a question, you know, similar pattern. Okay, these paintings you can see, these are mostly, yes, these are Bodhisattvas, and this Mahayana Buddhism, Hinayana Buddhism, well represented in Ajanta caves. You must understand that, yes, there are different caves here, Ajanta caves. Ajanta is mostly having representation of Buddhism. Okay, this is having representation of Buddhism, Hinayana Buddhism, Mahayana Buddhism, etc. When it goes to Ellora, Ellora is secular. You can see Buddhist caves are there, Jain caves are there, and the Brahminical caves are there. Okay, Badami caves, you know, this is Brahminical caves. Elephanta caves, you can see that again, Elephanta caves, Ellora caves, you know, Guptas, they are large contributors to its, you know, evolution. Later on, you can see that Ellora, Elephanta, even Rashtrakutas were also biggest contributors. Am I right? So things like this cave art and architecture, that is again a crucial part of your syllabus. Several times UPSC asked questions from this area. Yes, again, moving on to the another question. With reference to bronze casting in Harappan civilization. Bronze casting, see, this is bronze casting. Lost wax technique, you remember? Lost wax technique. What is that lost wax technique? Lost wax, first of all, you know, a wax figure is, for example, I am making a wax figure of, you know, Anjana. Okay, or Sandra, or Rajiv, I am making a wax figure. Then what I am doing, I am applying this clay coating on the figure. Then I allow it to, you know, get dried. When it is dried, you know, that wax is melting out. Then into that hole, I am putting that, pouring that liquefied metal, a molten metal. Am I right? Yes, then, you know, when it gets solidified, that clay coating I am removing, I get this original, that metal figure. That is lost wax technique. Still, you know, that was followed by imperial Cholas cultures, Nararaja cultures, different figures, you remember. Even today also, in Kerala or in different parts of India, this lost wax technique is followed for wax, this metal idol making or sculpture making. So that was as early as this practiced as early as Indus Valley civilization. Indus Valley civilization. So see, the lost wax technique used in Harappan bronze casting involved making a wax model, covering it with the clay, melting the wax and replacing it with the molten metal. That is a definition given to this lost wax technique. Okay, then see the second statement is the dancing girl statue found at Harappa is a famous example of this technique, showcasing the artistic fineness of the Indus artisans. Usually what happens with many aspirants, you know, they know that dancing girl is, you know, an example of perfect example of what? Perfect example of what? Lost wax technique. But the problem, the chadi here is, you know, mostly you ignore the chadi. What is the chadi here? It is not at Harappa. It's actually, this figure belongs to Mohenjo-daro. The tale of two cities of Indus civilization, Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. So you must know what are the findings from Harappa, what are the findings from Mohenjo-daro, what are the findings from Dholavira, what are the findings from Lothal, what are the findings from Benavali, what are the findings from Ragi-Gargi. Those things are very much important for you. You know, Dholavira, you know that it is a system, it is a site known for its water management. Am I right? Tropic of Cancer passes through, or it is situated in the Tropic of Cancer. And so many such features to these different sites of Indus civilization, they are important for you. So this is something, a finding from Mohenjo-daro, not at Harappa. Okay, it's a famous example of this lost wax technique, that is fine. But the problem there is, you know, it is not from Harappa, it is from Mohenjo-daro. Now, the dancing girl is depicted wearing multiple ornaments, stands in a perfected Tribhanga posture, demonstrating sophisticated understanding of performing arts. The problem here is, you know, it is an absolute statement, but it is just, you know, it is just interpretation by different historians, just a guess only. We don't have any perfect, solid evidence for that. We don't have solid evidence that this is exactly in the Tribhanga posture. We don't know whether it is exactly in the perfected Tribhanga posture, no idea. Some historians say they are in the Tribhanga posture. Some historians say they are not in the dance posture. So different interpretations are there. And these different interpretations are not the exact conclusion. That is why, since it is an extreme statement, you know, yes, they say it is a perfected Tribhanga. No idea whether it is a perfected Tribhanga posture. It is just a nigamanam only, or it is just, you know, assumption only. Okay, that is not the final conclusion. Okay, that is why I eliminate this statement and I come across the answer that is only, yes, only one. Second statement is wrong, third statement is wrong. Now moving on to the next one, just to see, consider following statements. What the beauty of this culture is that you solve a lot of questions, and solving questions is the way of learning these concepts in art and culture. See, yes, consider following regarding philosophical traditions of India. India is known for its lots of philosophical traditions, am I right? Heterodox philosophies are there, orthodox philosophies are there, Rajiv. So see, the Shramana traditions include Jainism, Buddhism, Ajivika, then this Ajnas and this Charvakas classified as Gnostic school, as they reject the authority of the Vedas. Okay, so you must know the basic difference between this Nastika and this Astika. Okay, Nastika, you know, the basic difference is very simple. These Nastika schools, you must understand that, yes, they reject the authority of Vedas. They reject the authority of Vedas and rituals. Okay, they reject the authority of the Vedas and rituals. On the other side, you see Astika schools. Astikas, you know, they accept the authority of Vedas. Okay, and you know, Buddhism, Jainism, Ajivikas, they are Shramanic traditions. In the, you know, for this Kerala people, they can easily connect. Shramana Malayalam word is, you know, Shramana, Shramikuga, Shramichu Neduga. So Buddhism, Jainism, Panieduthu Nedananu parayunnathu. Salvation nedandrathu enganeyanu? Shramichu nedu. It is through asceticism, penance, and this, you know, this what is called a middle path, and these three jewels, you know, follow these things in order to achieve salvation. That is Shramanic tradition. That is Shramanic tradition. Okay, so you see that Jainism, Buddhism, Ajivikas, etc., they are Nastika schools, they reject authority of the Vedas. Astika schools, you know, they are Nyaya, Vaiseshika, Samkhya, Mimamsa, they accept the authority of Vedas. They provide different perspectives on metaphysics, logic, spirituality. That is absolutely correct. Shramana traditions emphasize ascetic practices, renunciation, and self-discipline, often challenging the ritualistic and sacrificial aspects of Vedic traditions. So see, all these Shramana traditions emphasize ascetic practices, renunciation, self-discipline, often challenging the ritualistic and sacrifices aspects of the Vedic tradition. That is perfectly fine. So you see, both the statement 2 and 3 are correct here. Only one of them explains statement 1. Okay. You can see that the first statement is, you know, Shramana traditions including Jainism, Buddhism, classified as Nastika schools as they reject authority of the Vedas. Astika schools, you see, all those things are there. Then Shramana traditions emphasize ascetic practices, renunciation. So you see, the third one, you know, it explains that particular statement 1. Am I right? Individually, all the three statements are correct, but what I say, third statement perfectly explains statement 1. Okay, so take care. That is the answer. Bombay is the answer. So this is also, it's all about this, you know, what is called Nastika schools and Astika schools. Now you understood the concept. Nastika is, you know, rejecting the authority of the Vedas and rituals, more importance to penance, asceticism, and self, you know, moral practices or disciplined practices of achieving salvation. Am I right? Coming to this Astika school, they accept the authority of the Vedas. Am I right? Yes. Consider following statements regarding different schools of, are you tensed or getting bored? Hope you are not bored. Okay, we are solving and learning the concepts, and we'll come to the syllabus right now. Now see, there is another question which is about different schools of Buddhist art. You know, in the post-Mauryan era, Rajiv, 3 schools of this Buddhist art, there is Gandhara, Madura, Amaravati schools of art. Some basic fundamental things are very clear to you. If you know the fundamentals, this question is answerable. Just look into this. Gandhara school of art influenced by Greek, Roman artistic traditions. Madura was indigenous. Perfectly fine. Gandhara, just to see, geographically, where is Gandhara? Northwest. Am I right? So, of course, all these Central Asian or maybe, you know, these Greek invasions passes through that side only. Obviously, there is foreign influence. Okay, Madura, where is the place of Madura? So we know that, yes, Gandhara is because of the foreign influences. Gandhara Buddha is with the Karli Buddha. Am I right? curly hair Buddha, or with this bird and mouse chick and all, okay, with that 6-pack, 8-pack body Buddha, or maybe with that masculine physique, am I right? But coming to this indigenous Buddha, Madura Buddha is more bubbly Buddha, laughing Buddha, or fat Buddha. You see, there is no anatomical accuracy perfectly followed in this Madura, but it was perfectly followed in Gandhara because of the foreign techniques and foreign artisans' influence. Am I right? Yes. So what I say is that first statement is fine. Second statement, unlike Madura, Gandhara focused on single figure of Buddha, Amaravati emphasized on narrative art. Exactly. You can see that there is single Buddha in this Gandhara Madura. But coming to Amaravati, on a panel, you can see like a kind of a story. You can see this, yes, Buddha in symbols and images. You can see Buddha is narrated. Or Buddha's Jataka tales are narrated. Am I right? So you see that statement is correct. Madura school depicted Buddha with a halo, a feature absent in Gandhara. Halo is, you know, what is that halo? Halo around the head. In order to show that divine aura, there is a halo. With all godly figures, you know, halo is there. If I draw a halo around the head of Raji, means he is a divine figure. In order to show that a divine aura, there is a halo. But this halo was totally absent from Gandhara. That is a misleading idea. Halo is there in this Gandhara and Madura, but it is a plain halo in Gandhara and it is, you know, decorated halo in this Madura. That is the difference. Okay. So you see, the use of stucco became more common in later phase of both Gandhara and Madura. As it advances, it happens. That is a very common logical deduction only. So here I will go for one is correct. Yes, second statement, you know, that is 2 is correct. Third statement is wrong. A fourth statement is correct. I will go for only 3. Am I right? Yes. Similar way, when the current affairs happens in art and culture, there is high probability that lots of questions could be, lots of questions could be asked. Now, you know, you will get this printout of this, you know, art and culture, complete current affairs important for this year. A separate compilation I am giving you. A separate compilation I am giving you only for the students present here. This compilation will speak all important current affairs of art and culture from ancient to modern times. So everyone, today this only I am giving you and the material I will give tomorrow. So what you have to do is that after today's session, you go to home or you sit here, reading room, whatever, you finish reading of all these art and culture topics. Are you okay? Because there is high probability that minimum 4 to 5 questions could be asked from the single compilation, okay, which she is, you know, giving right now. So everybody after the class has to go through this compilation of art and culture current affairs, okay. All art, architecture, literature topics are there, which happened the last 1 year. So there is something you see that this Ballari ash mount, recently, you see that this Neolithic ash mount dating back to 4000 BC, 5000 BC, yes, this was destroyed in Ballari. Ballari Raja, you remember? That is in Karnataka, am I right? So you see that is why it is in the news. Now what kind of the question you can expect? You can expect a question like a Neolithic prehistoric art. Neolithic art or Neolithic features. You know what are the Neolithic age is called as, you know, this is an evolutionary phase or a revolutionary phase of prehistoric era. Am I right? So what are the central features of Neolithic era, Mesolithic era and that Paleolithic era? That must be very clear to you. Okay, the significant features of Paleolithic age, Mesolithic age, Neolithic age, Chalcolithic age, that must be very clear to you. And the prehistoric art must be very clear to you. Prehistoric painting, cave art, you know. What are the features of Paleolithic painting, Mesolithic painting, Chalcolithic painting, Neolithic painting? That idea you must have. See, there is megalithic age, you know, this Kanarapoil rock carvings. See, recently archaeological discovery was held in this Kerala, revealed 24 pairs of prehistoric footprints and a human figure carved into rock dating back to this megalithic age. So sometimes UPSC questions would be like this. Sometimes they ask the features. They ask the features of these Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic, Chalcolithic ages. Okay, Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic and Chalcolithic ages. Sometimes what happens, you know, yes, they will simply ask the sites and their findings and their location. So you must know some popular prehistoric sites in different parts of India. Some located in Kerala, some Payamballi, you know, some in Andhra, Telangana or Karnataka, some in this UP, some in this MP or some in this Odisha, some in this, Gujarat, or what are the popular distribution of these, prehistoric sites and their major findings? That must be, you remember, Edakal caves, in Ambalavale, that is a popular prehistoric settlement. So similar way, the spread of these prehistoric settlements in different parts of India, you must have an idea what are their major findings, what are the recent discoveries. This idea you should have. Okay. Now, archaeological sites in the news. Some recent sites you can see that Shivagalai or Keeladi, Adichanallur, these are some popular prehistoric or Sangam sites, in the news. Some recent archaeological excavations were held, and there is some, final conclusions, some final conclusions or findings were done. So you must have an idea what are the recent findings, what are the recent, excavations done in the popular sites. So the sites are important for you. Similar way, Indus civilization, 2024 marks what? Yes, it marks centenary of 100 years of the announcement of the discovery of Indus Valley civilization. Okay, so there is a chance that UPSC can ask questions from Indus. They already asked questions, and you can expect a questions from Indus Valley civilization. Okay, Indus Valley civilization. When you study Indus Valley civilization, you must cover the popular sites of Indus civilization. For example, let me ask you, from where this, mother goddess figurine was identified? Prehistoric statue, a signboard with Indus script, artificial dockyard. The biggest site of Indus civilization in India. Yes, this is the way you must know Indus sites and their major findings, relevance, that you should cover very well. Then you must have an idea about the town planning. There is a division of the city like upper town, lower town. You must understand that upper town is the area where these elite classes live and the popular buildings are located. Okay, lower town is the area of this, town of this, artisans and craft workers. Am I right? Similar way, what are the art and craft of Indus civilization, religion of Indus civilization, trade and commerce of Indus civilization, foreign contacts of Indus civilization. Am I right? Yes, these are very much important for you. Now see, similar way, this Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Stalin announced USD 1 million for the prize, for the person who will successfully decipher Indus script. That means Indus script is not deciphered, am I right? So Indus script, you see, it is not alphabetical. Full of these symbols and signs are used and not deciphered. And that particular style is called a booster of reference. So things are there to learn. Am I right? Yes. Ragigargi, Gagar-Hagra River Plain, largest Indus Valley site in India. Yes, Haryana is set to establish world's largest museum of Harappan culture in Ragigargi, Hisar district. That is why Ragigargi is in the news. Excavations are still going on.
Gallant IAS, chasing your passion to ace.